Hi, I'm Serena from Troglodytes, and today I want to introduce you to our latest project, Real Gods of Ystera, a Lovecraftian base building survival game coming later this year for PC and console. This is our most challenging project today, and we're having a blast working on a game with such complex designs and mechanics. There's a lot to unpack, so without further ado, let's get started and descend into the world of Ystera.
Thank you, Serena. I'm Saverio, CEO of Troglodytes Games. Real Gods of Ystera is a Lovecraftian-themed crafting survival crew-based building and cooperative experience for up to 5 players. Yes, there are a lot of tags to define our game's theme and genre. After releasing and publishing several titles, we decided to explore new genres. Everyone on the team has hands-on experience with games like Conan Exile, Valheim, V Rising, Subnautica, and Raft, just to name a few. With this diverse background, we analyzed team stats to study player behavior and gather some encouraging data. This led us to embark on this journey, inspired by how other survival games have approached mechanics in different ways. Perhaps, and without sounding overconfident, we believe we have improved on some aspects. Something we have noticed in many survival games is a tendency for players to build an initial small base, then explore and build bigger bases. This loop continues until they end up with several final bases in various locations. However, players often abandon those early bases, which can feel like a waste of time and resources as they are no longer used or even worth reclaiming if possible. We decide to approach this differently. In Real Gods of Ystera, your home base is a mobile refuge that grows as you gather materials from the different environments you visit. In this way, you are not leaving anything behind. Everything you build stays relevant with you. The choice of a train as your mobile base was almost immediate. I've always been fascinated by the idea of a Lovecraftian journey on rails, especially after playing Horror on the Orient Express, a Call of Cthulhu adventure, and watching episodes of Snowpiercer. The train is a perfect vehicle for a traveling Lovecraftian adventure. Like any good base, it needs to be expanded with containers, workbench, and other workstation. Platforms and carriages are modular pieces you build, and by design, they follow the locomotive. Instead of a traditional circular expansion around a central fire, your base now grows along a linear track. This opens up new challenges that we enjoy solving. Do you need to reach the 7 carriage quickly? We got teleportation options. Do you need a specific resource stored in the 4 carriage? Our interconnected containers have got you covered. However, a base requires maintenance and a mobile one needs fuel to keep moving. Let's take a step back. We chose an apocalyptic setting for the game. After all, it's a survival game, right? There are countless types of apocalypses out there. Radiation, zombie, infected creature, robots, AI, and so on. Humans are anyway hiding somewhere, trying to survive. But we wanted something different, something that would stand out. After looking at Steam stats, we realized that the Lovecraftian horror theme was a perfect fit for an apocalypse that was truly unlike any other. In our world, the great old ones have awakened, bringing death, destruction, and madness. The few humans who retain their sanity are scattered, hiding away from the horrors that have ravaged the world. This perfect aligns with our concept of character or heroes traveling by train, station to station. The remaining survivors tend then to congregate around the train stations. Well, in a Lovecraftian setting, a train would inevitably be under constant attack by all kinds of eldritch creatures. What could keep these horrors at bay? Perhaps a powerful creature? A demigod? Well, this is how the idea of Real Gods was born, a demigod embedded with a locomotive, leading a train of carriage with the player serving as a part of the train crew, and that in order to survive in this broken world, they are forced to travel with it. This is by far our most complex project to date, and we are having an absolute blast working on a game with such intricate design and mechanics. There is so much to unpack, so without further ado, let's dive into the world of Vistera.
Madness. Every Lovecraftian game and video game features the gradual descent of the hero into madness, and our game, set in a Lovecraftian post-apocalyptic world, is no exception. During the development of Real Gods of Vistera, we introduced a mechanic that reflects the role of madness on both exploration and character progression. As the character ventures into the wasteland of Vistera, the ever-present influence of the Great Old Ones and the eerie environment slowly begin to erode the fragile human mind. At first, this inevitable descent is represented by restricting the use of more and more items carried in an inventory, as well as limiting the character's ability to craft new items. If the player chooses to keep exploring, the character will face additional challenges. The map and compass become blurred, and other visual effects are introduced to create a sense of disorientation, as if the character wanders, almost lost, in a vast and unknown land surrounded by unspeakable horrors. When the character eventually returns to the train, he must interact with the heart of the real god, the creature he is in symbiosis with. This interaction absorbs the madness, converting it into a stat we call horror. The more horror the player accumulates or decides to accumulate, the more powerful Godkeeper skills become available. Once the character's mind is freed from madness, he is ready to embark on even more perilous journeys, prepared for new challenges.
Players will quickly realize, even during the first explorations, how crucial it is to effectively manage madness. To help with this, we have incorporated the familiar survival game mechanics, along with some unique innovations. While on board, a character can prepare items such as herbal tea to be consumed at the right moment. Other items with similar effects can be found in chests or gathered from the environment from time to time. By completing a specific quest, players can build and use the psychiatric station, where they can treat certain items to prevent them from being affected by madness. Deciding which item to treat among bandages, ammo, and blueprints will be strategically engaging. Additionally, certain items can also store madness, preserving the character's mind and giving them an edge in both exploring and gathering horror. These mechanics are designed to be also used in combination. Expert players will aim to master this synergy to increase their chances of reaching the farthest corner of the map. Horror also introduces its unique mechanics. As said before, it must be collected to unlock Godkeeper skills, which grow increasingly powerful and offer valuable support in both exploration and resource management tasks while on board. Quickly returning to the train and avoiding backtracking the whole map will be possible by summoning a tentacle from thin air. Revealing the map of the next area to explore is a power granted by your rail god, which would also grant the power of transforming the arm of the character in an obscure tentacle to collect forbidden or hidden resources. Some other Godkeeper skills will make our hero tougher and more resilient to the threats of the Wastelands, so as to increase the chance of survival. Also, horror will be used to create special items that become available when the player unlocks what we call mystic skills. In this way, only characters who witness enough eldritch horrors and acquire forbidden knowledge can write books and scroll, perform dark alchemy and rituals, and cast the most powerful spells. Finally, it's important to mention that the Godkeeper skill represents the symbiosis of the conductor with the rail gods, and any conductor can also invite new players to join the game and unlock advanced skill to use from the very first moment.
Sacrifices. A rail god is a bloodthirsty creature whose tissues are intertwined with the engine, gears, and wheels of a locomotive. Like any other locomotive, she requires fuel to move forward, but not just any fuel. She demands a tribute of blood and flesh. As her conductor, it is your responsibility to provide it with the proper fuel. Fail to do so, and you will be doomed to wander the nowhere. While the easiest way to feed her is with mush, a twisted, bloody mess collected from the enemies you defeat, the wiser conductors prefer to go hunting. They carefully plan their expeditions, crafting traps to capture their prey and building cages to contain them. Once captured and confined aboard, the stage is set for the feast. Place the victim in the rail god's feeder, and one of her tentacles will reach out to seize them, refilling her blood tanks with fresh sustenance. Also scattered throughout the world of Ystera are special recipes. Follow the instructions to properly feed your rail god, and she will lay eggs that contain cool gear, crafting tutors, and minions.
Gears includes pieces of armor that grant unique immunities, while powerful twisted melee weapons and deadly firearms might be a game changer when dealing with the most unspeakable of the horrors. As you might have guessed, egg recipe might even involve an enemy, and alive of course. By feeding the railgod with an alive enemy with other ingredients, you can recombine its flesh and essence to create something totally new, a tutor. This specific NPC can then be assigned to a workbench or desk, thus unlocking the ability to craft special items with this assistance. Enemy flesh and power can also be used to give birth to a different kind of NPC, a minion, fully at your service. You can take your minion along during your exploration of Ystera Wasteland, where it will provide both combat support and helpful buff. As for recipes, once you discover one, you can freely experiment with similar ingredients to uncover others. In some cases, the path is straightforward and you might easily guess a new recipe. Feel free to share your discoveries on Railgods of Ystera forums and wiki, as knowledge is power.
Dark gifts. Every conductor knows that sacrificing certain enemies to the rail god is the key to unlock powerful eldritch powers, known as dark gifts, bestowed by the Great Old Ones on their minions and lackeys. When the rail god eats enough enemies of a kind, the conductor can explore a stop, looking for special places where a god is worshipped, usually an obelisk or an altar. Here, Dagon, Azathoth, or other gods can try your faith by testing your skills or accepting your offerings. Once acquired, 2 dark gifts can be equipped at the same time to combine their effects and overcome the perils of your journey on Ystera. Increase your devotion towards the gods to learn their powers and defeat them.
In Lovecraftian cosmology, each god is portrayed with a distinct personality and a specific role. In Railgods of Ystera, we designed our dark gift to align with and enhance various gameplay styles, catering to different types of players. As true aficionados of Lovecraft work and their enduring legacy, we understand the challenge of capturing the full breadth of the mythos pantheon. Since the game is currently planned to be launched in early access on Steam, we're introducing additional gods over time, each tied to unique biome, setting, and content updates. Please bear with us during this journey, and if your favorite god or creature is not yet present, don't worry, it will be summoned into game soon enough, or as the old saying goes, when the stars are right. Those who follow Azathoth, the blind and ultimate god who sits at the center of the universe, seek nuclear destruction. For them, direct and immediate damage is the ideal approach. Followers of Ig, the father of serpents, harness poisoned attack, healing powers, and lightning fast devastating strikes. Nodens, the Lord of the Great Abyss, offer protection, the ability to shake the very earth itself, and the powers of his servants, the faceless Night Gauns. Nyarlathotep, also known as the Crawling Cows, is the sole messenger of the other gods. In the mythos, he is the most active and directly involved with human affairs. Since millennia, his 1001 forms have been worshipped in various corners of the earth. As a result, the dark gift granted to those who pledge their devotion to him are much more diverse. In Nyarlathotep's name, enemies may be struck by bolts of lightning or driven into maddened fury by the buzzing cows, becoming also more vulnerable. Meanwhile, the devotee of Nyarlathotep gains near immunity, temporarily slipping into an ethereal state. In Nyarlathotep's name, enemies will be struck by bolt of lightning or driven into maddened fury by the buzzing cows, becoming more vulnerable. Meanwhile, the devotee of Nyarlathotep gains near immunity, temporarily slipping into an ethereal state. The first biome of Rail Gods of Ysterra takes place in the Ismuth area, where Dagon and his devotee followers are even present, and of course, they also can be captured. As a result, dreamers will soon be able to claim some of the fish god dark gift, harnessing sea-based powers to take down their foe. Harpoons will dart from one target to the next. Tidal impetus offer a devastating charge that crushes everything in its path or helps you to escape from the trouble. And Snapwave is a powerful frontal attack to unleash at just the right moment. Fun fact, the Snapwave is inspired by a clawed deep one. We discover it closely resembles to the attack of the tiny pistol shrimp, which kills its prey with an explosive burst of force.
Journey. As you travel through Ysterra, your rail god clatters across the endless railways, taking you and your crew past many locations. While on board, open the overworld map and reserve your stops to ensure you don't miss them while you're busy crafting weapons or cooking meals. Certain locations contain valuable resources, points of interest, dungeons, and enemies. If you miss a stop, don't worry. Since stops are procedurally generated, similar ones will appear as you continue your journey. You also have control over the track exchanges. If the coastal area no longer offers a challenge, you can venture into the woods or swamp trails. And if needed, you can always return to the easier areas by swapping tracks. Remember, traveling does not come for free. Keep an eye on how many stops you can visit and be prepared to capture and confine as many enemies as you can to fuel the railgod.
From a design and narrative standpoint, the need to return back to a specific location emerged. You might need to speak with a particular NPC again or return certain items to a special place, among other scenarios. But how do we address this issue when the endless railways randomly branch out connecting a location that can only be visited once? We've come up with the idea that some locations can be accessed only via coordinates. These aren't numerical coordinates, which hold little meaning in a chaotic post-apocalyptic world ravaged by the Great Old Ones. Instead, these are magical coordinates, designed as a combination of mystical symbols that must be input into the locomotive control panel. By doing so, the railgod will open an arcane portal to the desired station. This system creates reference points in the chaos of the Westlands, allowing players to visit places like Innsmouth, Kingsport, Devil Reef, and other settings from Lovecraftian lore whenever they wish. Additionally, the magical coordinates for some secret location can be shared online by players who have discovered them. Speaking of fuel, I'll tie this back to the nowhere mentioned earlier. If your railgun does not have enough match to reach a stop marked on the endless railway, it will halt in the so-called nowhere, a mysterious and uncharted area of Isterra. This region is particularly challenging because even the most basic survival resources are unavailable. However, on the flip side, unique resources can only be found here. Moreover, venturing too deep into the fogs of nowhere puts the character at risk of losing their mental connection with the railgods and potentially getting lost forever. Of course, nowhere is also teeming with hostile enemies and dangerous creatures.
Stations. Towns are essential stops for any conductor. While your main goal is to discover and defeat the Great Old Ones in their lairs, you must also ensure the survival of the few remaining inhabitants. Stop by a town and talk to its people, often organized into guilds, to hear their needs. The transport manager may request cargo, or the hunters might ask for some rare yet unnameable trophies. If your train is properly equipped, you could even give a ride to a mysterious passenger heading to an even stranger land. By engaging with the towns, you'll gather knowledge to master both mundane and mystical skills, unlock unique workbenches, and discover new crafting recipes, bringing you closer to the final challenge, one stop at a time.
Unlocking new workbenches, special flatbeds, and other facilities is done by interacting with the bulletin board, available in every town. From here, dreamers can quickly check the needs of survivors. By survivors, I mean the resident of the Innsmouth area, as you won't always return to the same town. The requests you encounter are actually those of all the inhabitants in the region. Once you accept and complete a quest, whether it's a classic kill or fetch type quest, you can deliver it by interacting with the bulletin board in the next town. Alternatively, if your train is equipped with an Ether radio, you can communicate with the station manager even while traveling. Dreamers are also rewarded simply for visiting different towns. These encourage players to plan their stop strategically, making them more likely to take on a new quest. On the bulletin board, you can choose what to unlock next, based on the guild points you have earned by assisting different guilds. This system allows each player to shape their own journey and uniquely uncover the mysteries of Isterra.
I hope our game piqued your interest. We're working real hard to give players a truly unique Lovecraftian experience like no others. We hope to see you all in Isterra when the game launches in the next few months. Thanks for watching. Ciao!